Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I have as my guest, Evgeniy Kharam. Today, we're going to learn a little bit about who he is and what he does. Throughout his career, Evgeniy has worked with some of the largest enterprises across Canada, the U.S., and Europe, including time spent working alongside industry leaders like Robert Haraves. How do you say his last name? Harjavec? Harjavec. As a cybersecurity consultant, he has helped major companies tackle complex technical challenges, but along the way, he realized that success isn't just about technical know-how. Yes, I've learned that too. To truly make impact, you need to connect with people, whether they are customers, teammates, or executives. He discovered that simplifying technical ideas, improving communication skills, and using hooks to capture an audience's attention are essential to delivering the right message. He also learned the importance of using voice effectively and managing fear, turning presentations and discussions into more powerful, engaging experiences through storytelling, metaphors, and concise communication. Evgeniy has mastered the art of making complex concepts easy to understand. In his book, The Art of Soft Skills in Technical Sales, there you go, he shares the insights to help professionals combine technical expertise with human connection, making them more successful leaders and communicators. So we're going to talk about soft skills in this digital age that we live in. So please join me in welcoming Evgeniy Kharam.
Thank you very much.
So important what you're talking about. You know, this is why I do what I do. I teach communication and leadership because I just found in my over 40 years that that's where the missing link was for people to be not just managers, but leaders. So
100%.
welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Very, very happy to be here today. And you mentioned management versus leadership. I believe very strongly about the idea, lead by example. Don't just tell people what to do, show them how it's done. Even if you struggle, ask for help. There's many, many, many nuances there. And as someone that's been in a technical sphere and domain for more than 20 years, it was an interesting aha moment. Is not just what you know, it's how you output this from our amazing brain in the language that other people will understand. And in some cases, it could be a business language, it could be a simple language or a metaphor. Someone asked me a couple of weeks ago, how did I realize that I need to change my approach? And in one part, I had this approach because I'm a second-time immigrant and I was struggling quite a lot with the language part. This could be me speaking very quickly, mumbling, being afraid, being kind of, in some cases, sweaty and hot because I was so concerned.
Yeah.
But also making pauses, not using filler words, being confident. It was one part. But the second part is actually this business language. I was presenting to CIO about cybersecurity roadmap. And he asked me, look, we had a good understanding. He knew I'm very technical. But he asked me, Evgeny, you tell us we need to spend X amount of money to buy this new endpoint protection antivirus. It's like, yes. Can you explain me in business terms why do I need to buy it? And he had this huge smile on his face. And I'm like, he's like, come back tomorrow and explain to me, not in the technical terms, in the business language. What's my ROI? What will happen if I don't have it from a business perspective? And this was a really an aha moment for me. Like, okay, I have to adapt my approach to the business leaders. I have to tell and talk on their level and what is their pain point, not just because it's geeky, it's smart, it will do X, Y, Z, and the blue and green lights will turn on. I had this job that if you put an accounting and a developer in the same room, and both of them will talk the language, talk to their friends, they will not understand each other.
Yeah, so true. Well, before we get in all of this, I ask two simple questions always first. First, share a bit about where you live today. Where do you call home?
My home is Toronto, Canada. It's getting cold here slowly. Winter is coming.
And where did you come from originally, though? You said you were...
So originally, I moved from Kiev, that was still USSR in 1990s, then became Ukraine. I moved to Israel in 1990. I spent in Israel 17 years.
Wow.
And then I moved to Canada in 2007, 2006. So 16 years, yeah.
Excellent. And so you shared about your aha moment, but at what point did you realize that you you really could connect with people differently, that that pivotal moment where you saw, just as you described earlier, but that moment where when you changed the way that you used your soft skills and technical skills. And I love this. I've been a Toastmaster for 27 years. And one of the groups that I used to work with, especially were my fellow, I was a project lead for UPS for a long time, 27 years. And one of the things that I like to work with those folks, the technical, just for the reason that you said, is they came in and they were like all business, all technical. And it's like, no, but you have people here that don't understand what you're saying. And then the tone that you use is just not bringing them in. And so I just love for you to share a little bit about maybe the journey that took you to where you're doing what you did today.
This will go so many different directions, but I'll try. I'll tell you first how it went all down. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to do something about it.
Yeah.
So first, during the teenager time, I had a hard time to date. Like you come into a club, you start to talk to a woman. She's like, what? Well, it's loud. And I'm not speaking very clearly and I'll speak very fast. So this was like very, very irritating. But in the army, in the Israel, I actually messed up. I went to do a training about network security and Windows. And I came back to the base and like, oh, I'm going to check some of the things. And I kind of was trying to hack the network in the army, even so I wasn't. And people like, what are you doing? Like people call me and like, okay, we understand it wasn't intentional, but you have to deliver a speech to the base about why you're not supposed to do this. This was just horrifying experience. Even so, I knew the people in the base. I was mumbling, I was sweaty, I didn't know how to talk, I didn't know what to look. I was so scared, I didn't forget about breathing and all the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. So I came back after that, I was like, dude, something is wrong. Like, no. And then a couple of years later, I stumbled on Dale Carnegie, How to Find Friends and Influence People. They were like, check. Okay. Later on, already in Canada, I worked a lot on the idea that if I have issue with the language, I went to do like accent reduction training. They didn't really work so well. But what I realized quickly is when you see someone is very passionate about something, it's almost like catching fire.
Mm-hmm.
And it was native to me because I like to share anecdotes. I like to share jokes. And I realized when I do anecdotes and jokes, I'm actually quite fluent and I'm not mumbling and I'm passionate about the idea. So I started to introduce almost like a dial. Can I turn the passion even more when I'm describing a network architecture, when I'm describing what we're going to do? And I realized that it's not just the words. Maybe they missed one or two words. Maybe they
Yeah.
didn't understand one or two words, but they definitely saw this. Oh my God, dude, you're so excited about this architecture. There's no way it will be false. Like, there's no way it's not true. And slowly by slowly, I started to use it more and more. Now, I wasn't faking it. I was really believing in what I'm saying. It was dear to my
Right.
heart. I love what I did. So it connects. It's like, oh, this is very good. This is very interesting. And then other pieces came too. I went to Toastmasters. Toastmasters would like, do you know what's filler words? It's like, what? Where? Like when you speak, and this was a curse and a blessing in the same time.
Yeah.
You know why it was a curse?
Why?
Because after that, I couldn't hear when people speak to me and they're like, hi, hello,
Oh, yeah,
Evgeny.
yeah, for sure.
That's it. It just turned the switch. I remember clearly, it's actually in the book. We went to a meeting with the customer, and my
Mm-hmm.
dear salesperson was like, so we are here, to talk to you about, I'm like, Joe, they don't know. That's why we should.
True.
So it was a blessing and a curse, but
Yeah.
it definitely, we have this expression in technology called watchdog. It's something that watching what's happening with processes. So I had this 1% of my CPU in my brain allocated to watch filler words. I still say so and also from time to time,
Me
but I
too.
was able to not just eliminate, to actually instead of saying a pause, instead of saying a filler word, I do a pause. Yes, I
Mm.
knew about the technique, but it worked magically. And later, I actually decided, okay, I want to go learn how to sing. I'm not singing right now yet. I'm not there, so don't ask me to do this. Maybe in a year. And my trainer told me something interesting. He's like, Evgeny, a voice is not a dog on a leash. It's just dragged behind you. You
Mm.
can actually go and work with your voice. And
Yeah.
he's the one that helped me to completely accept my voice. He's like,
Nice.
dude, your accent is your accent. If you're going to remove your accent, you will become a Canadian that will have a Canadian voice. But you have a very low voice and your accent, your voice will be memorable. People will remember
Mm-hmm.
your
That's
voice
right.
because of the accent and how low it is. I'm like, okay. So he's
Very
the
true.
one that helped me to connect to this part and helped me to find myself from the voice perspective. I'm doing panel moderation right now. I'm doing public speaking. I have a podcast about cyber and now about soft skills as well. It was really, really good to actually accept myself. And I remember one day a buddy of mine is like, why would you hire a Canadian girl or man to do your podcast? I'm like, why would I do that? It's like, oh, because they're going to have a perfect English. It's like, but they're not going to be me.
That's right. So good. Awesome story. Thank you so much for sharing that. So let's talk about soft skills in the digital world that we have, this digital age, that ever changing, ever changing. Exciting though, exciting. What are strategies that CTOs and consultants use to manage stress and fear in this high pressure environment that we live in?
It's interesting you mentioned fear. Fear is so, so amazing
Yes.
because it's not bad, it's not good. It's just there to help us and guide us in some cases. I have this analogy if you see a kitty cat on the street, great. If you see a lion on the street and you're not afraid, something wrong with you. You should be afraid. But if you connect, and this is fun, it's because I actually came to this revelation on one of the podcasts I was there, because fear and excitement. Excitement is we know the outcome and we're excited. Fear, we don't know the outcome. That's why we're afraid, but they're very, very, very connected and very, very similar. And if you think about voice and communication, if we afraid, if we under stress, we have more filler words. You're a
That's
podcast
for
host.
sure.
You probably saw people starting to record and they calm down after a few minutes and their
I
voice
do.
become
Mm-hmm.
easier. So you're like, okay, nobody gonna eat us, nobody gonna shoot us.
Mm-hmm.
We can, it's actually a very friendly conversation, so it's all good. Why I'm saying this? Because fear is contributing there. Now, if fear is contributing to the way we speak, fear is going to contribute to our communication as a CTO or whatever the other leadership positions you have. So if you're a leader and you right now need to deliver a speech, convince your team, explain something what need to be done, present to a customer, present to investor. If you present to investor about your great idea and you like, I'm Evgeniy, I have this thing with AI that we did, and it will change the world. Like, you really,
Yeah, no.
I, dude, like, seriously? But it's a different way to do it, like, because you mentioned intonation. If we are know what we're saying, we speak differently. If we add passion, even if we say,
Mhm.
I don't know, you can say, I don't know, or you can say, I don't know, I'll get back to you. Don't worry, you'll get an answer. So this all way, do you feel really, really let me feel that I'm in the good hands, that you will take care of me, that you know what's going to happen. And this is what many leaders sometimes forget, that they're not just whatever they're not sure. Excuse me, nobody cares. Okay.
Mhm.
This is you in the shrink. But you people that you're leading, they need to be constantly know that you will take them where you're taking them. And we can work with this fear. Because again, not a problem to have a fear. The issue is how do we use it? So, for
Yeah.
example, if I'm going to present to a big group of people, doesn't matter who they are, and I afraid, if I know that every time I afraid when I present, then like, oh, part of the solution is recognize the problem. So every time I present, I have this internal fear. Great. Now I know I'm doing something that's meaningful to me, that's
Yeah.
important to me. I care about it. Now let's take this fear and move it to excitement. Let's
Yeah.
use it. And I'm sure people that are listening to us right now, when they ask us to do something, we did it. Second time we did it. The next time we're doing that, we're no longer afraid. But when we now have a bigger audience or bigger impact, now we're afraid again. So now we can use the fear of indication, oh, we're doing something bigger. We're doing something more excited, maybe bigger outcome. Now, how do we solve the problem? We have many ideas and many techniques to get into this flow. We can do physical exercise. I would really like to talk about breathing exercise
Yeah.
because there is a number of breathing exercises. You may be familiar with box breathing
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
yoga 1-2 breathing, when we almost physically pushing the heart rate to become lower. And if usually our breathing rate is from 12 to 20 breaths per minute, if you're doing box breathing, for people that are listening right now, box breathing is when you basically have four pillars of the breath. So you inhale for 4 or 5 seconds, hold for 4 or 5 seconds, exhale 4 or 5, hold and repeat. And this could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. 10 is quite hard. I don't know many people that can do
Yes.
10,
I do 4.
but yeah. So 4 is basically 16. 5
Mhm.
is basically 20. To simplify the math, if you do 5, it means you're now moving to 3 breaths per minute, from 12 to 20 per minute. Guarantee if you do box breathing for 4 or 5 minutes, you will push yourself to slow
Yeah.
down your body, it's going to be much easier to get to the state when you need to do whatever you need to do. Have a difficult conversation with your boss. Have a difficult conversation with somebody that maybe unfortunately need to change their position. Many, many, many different things. I literally used to go to a washroom before a presentation and do box breathing in the washroom before I need to present. And there are also another one when you rotate around your body. As I would just go to the washroom and kind of rotate around my body for 2, 3 minutes. It also helps the mechanism, almost like a baby, you're rocking the baby.
Yeah.
Same working with your body to work and connect and do that. And there's many, many different parts. So if I go bring the book back, you will see, if it go to the focus, you will
You
see
gotta go put
building,
it over top of your face.
you will see building
There
blocks
it is.
here.
Got it. Got it
Yeah.
there.
You will see building blocks on the bottom. And the building block basically represent different modalities, different chapters of the book, how we take the puzzle and connect it to one better human being. Because
Yeah.
it's communication, this is fear, this is being present, how we ask questions, how we normalize yourself, this is a different topic, but the video concept is also very important right now.
Yeah, that's why I teach both. Yeah, for sure. So, what are or how can technical professionals improve their communication with non-technical? And you touched on it in the very beginning, but I think it's really important because you subtly touched on a point where they want to have that credibility. I know my stuff, and yet they have to be emote that sincerity that I understand that this may be not your stick. If you might not get this, so let me tell you it in a way that you understand it, but that's not demeaning to them. Because in my years with the technical world, I have had people that it's like, I know you can't get this, but just follow along as best you can. And that tone, that attitude. So how can we do that in a way that you're a technical person, but you're talking to non-technical people?
A couple of things here. One, part of soft skill in my mind is actually guidance. So you ask for guidance and you guiding as well. In my work, many cases I need to do calls with investors because I want to invest in cyber and they're asking questions about particular domains in cybersecurity. So I usually ask, guys, girls, I can go very technical or I can stay higher level. Please stop me anytime I am becoming very technical. So I give them this option to stop me because if I don't ask them, they may feel, or even ask him if he will think we're stupid or something like that. So the same could be when you present. I have this jokes that I'm doing all the time when I present to people. I say, by the way, I know the material very well. So I'm here for you. If you want to stop me anytime, please stop me and I will elaborate. I may tell you, wait 2, 3 minutes when I'm done because I may answer your question, but please stop me. So I'm giving people permission and options to stop me. I'm also doing the same when somebody present to me. I'm asking, would it be okay if I interrupt and ask questions? Same idea. So I'm kind of guiding them or asking them permission. So when you present to someone that's not technical, you as a presenter need to understand their level and how they want to be presented. Don't forget, if we're not just speaking and we're actually presenting, we may want to ask, do you want to see PowerPoint? Do you want to see demo? You want to talk about this because we are visual, we are audio, we are kinesthetic, we're all different people. But main part is we want you to feel good about yourself and we want you to understand the information. You can also research about the person, understand what they do. I think it's always safe to do metaphors from real life, like a house.
Yeah.
Something with the kids, something with general topics we understand. When I talk about cyber, I talk about house. I'm talking about fences, video camera, dogs, windows, and basically explaining different ideas. So let's just give you an example. A video camera is a very good control to watch your house, but the video camera cannot stop the bad guys, can only tell about the bad guys. A door or a fence it's a very good control to stop the bad guys. And they don't know they come in, but it will create them a problem to overcome this. And there's many, many different examples that we can talk about that. So the same can be done in the part as well. I think you have to be cautious to not to use acronyms from the other people work
Yes.
because they'll catch you and say, explain what you just told me. You're like, I just read about this. So stay in the level and explain what you need. Now, if you're a professional and you know you're going to be working mainly with accounting or with other people, and this is your field of work, then go learn. Do the simple accounting training to
Hmm.
understand all the acronyms. Again, understand what they do, understand what's happening. You don't have to know them, but at least you will not be lost as well.
Yeah. I found that as a project lead, one of the best things as I developed over the years was that the diversity of the projects I did introduced me to many, many different disciplines of the company. And so I was able to understand all of those different groups, the accounting, the finance, and technical marketing, all those. So it is accurate what you're saying that to spend time to get to know your people. And I think that's a soft skill to, that's the emotional intelligence that you need to bring to the table.
Percent. And the emotional intelligence is not easy these days because
Mm,
emotional intelligence in many cases required some time to think, sometimes to know how to respond, active listening. Like you're probably familiar with this idea when you ask someone, good morning, how you doing? And people say, I'm really bad. And people just move over because it's just this saying, good morning, how you doing? Because they need to, they used to, because it's common and not because you care.
yeah.
Now we can say it is emotional intelligence or it's empathy. I think it's connection because if you don't have enough emotional intelligence to understand that something changed in somebody else's tone, then you have a problem,
Mhm.
then the empathy will not kick in because the
Yeah.
emotional intelligence didn't tell you something happened. Or you're talking with your friend on the phone and they just step into the puddle. You like, there's something happened, your voice of tone
Yeah.
changed, but it required active listening. If you're not
Hmm.
actively listening, your emotional intelligence will not kick in. And therefore, basically, this sequence of friendship will not kick in as well. I was talking to a buddy of mine actually earlier this morning, and we spoken about empathy. And I think empathy, in many cases, is something that comes when something happened bad to someone. I don't know if you have the same feeling or not, but is empathy should happen. Let's say you got a new car and you're very happy because you really wanted this new car. As you, as a friend that didn't have a new car, would you have enough empathy to celebrate your friend's success and your friend's happiness to get a new car?
Mm. Yeah. I think that can come two ways, two-sided, right? It's two-sided. So the person who got the new car, knows that that person can't afford a new car. So how you celebrate that might be toned down excitement so that you don't make that person feel less, if you will.
True,
Whereas,
true.
whereas, if you don't know the person, you don't know their circumstances, you may come in and so excited, and you could see active listening is also body language too. So you could maybe see their demeanor change. And then if you do notice that, then you might tone down the situation a little bit. But oftentimes people don't. They just are so excited. And they're going on and on and on, and they don't
It's a good point.
realize. Yeah, they don't
It's a good point.
realize.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely many different things.
yeah. So I'd love to talk about the remote workers. So I do what I do a lot because I started this just in the midst of COVID, and as a project lead, and I had teams all over the place. So remote work wasn't foreign to me, but to a lot of people, it has been. So how has the shift to remote work changed the way we approach work? And I really want you to think from also a leadership perspective too, not just the worker, but how we lead has to be is changed in terms of dealing with people that aren't at your side every day.
It's quite a big of a transition. I'll give you some examples and then we'll talk about some of the ideas. So I have four screens right now when I'm talking to you. I use a teleprompter. So when you look at me, I look into your eyes. I don't know if you use a teleprompter, but you have a very good eye contact, or maybe you have a camera, or you train yourself to look inside the camera, but it takes time. In many cases, people look into the camera. So right now, I'm looking the same different camera. Sorry, I'm looking at my laptop because it's actually there. So you now see side of my face, but guess what? I still see you because my image is mirrored. So in many cases, people join the call and they look to see you, but they don't really understand that I don't see them. I see the side of the face or the bottom of the face or something else.
Yeah.
Now, we also only see the upper part of Evgeny. If Evgeny taking notes on the right, do you think Evgeny taking notes or Evgeny eating spaghetti on the right? In a physical room, you will see that Evgeny is actually writing notes because there's a notebook on the right. In a physical room, you will not have Facebook, LinkedIn, something else running on the other side of the screen. So when you present, do you really know if Evgeny is listening to you or
You're
Evgeny is like,
connecting.
yeah, this is so amazing. Oh my God, this is such a good project. Yeah. And you're just
That's
scrolling
why
something on.
that's why I hated audio calls, before we had Zoom and all this. Uh, I quickly, for my project, switched to video because I had people around the world and I needed to see their eyes to know that they were connecting, they were engaged, that they were understanding. And you had so many times in an audio where it's like, yeah, yeah, sure.
Mhm.
And they were doing work on their other computer. They weren't even paying
Yeah.
attention to what you were saying.
Yeah. So we'll transition quickly to some of the ideas and we'll come back to some other
Yeah.
examples. One, as a leader in the company, you need to show example and establish some kind of policy or some kind of guide. No, I call it policy guidelines. Is guys, girls, we all on
Hmm.
video. If
Yeah.
you working on a project, for example, like coding, you don't have to be on the video. But if we're having a meeting, let's be on video because we discussed it. Now, sometimes there's exceptions. Sometimes we on the go. Sometimes we went to grab our kids from school. Sometimes we're not feeling well. So we can say XYZ, we're not on video, but you want to establish some kind of guidelines how we operate as a company. It also could be hard if you have more than 4, 5, 6 people on the call, you will not able to see everyone. So if you're
Yeah.
presenting to 20 people, 30 or 40 people or more, as a leader, you also really want to think about hygiene. So in this case right now, I have a blue background. I just moved to a new physical location. I didn't finish it up. I usually have a green screen behind me. I have lights. I have a teleprompter. I have a professional microphone. You as a leader want to spend money and time to have a good station where they can hear you well, listen well,
Right.
you're gonna have a good lighting on your face as well. I have 2 lights there as well. You also potentially maybe want to allocate some money for people or guide them. Hey, you will buy new shoes to work, you will buy a new outfit to work. Why would you spend 50, $60 to buy a microphone, to buy a better camera, or whatever it is? So you want to establish all this information. You maybe want to explain how we operate and what's the better setup you can have.
Yeah.
Sometimes I should allocate money for people to buy standing desks, to buy another monitor, and many, many different things. The other part is you need to back to guidance. If you're writing notes, you can say, guys, by the way, you may see me going to the right, I'm writing notes. By the way, you will see me looking on the screen because I'm talking to you on this screen, but I have a bigger screen on the left. So you may see me from time to time glancing there. because I'm checking something. So you're establishing rapport, you're establishing guidelines and what makes sense and what's not. And it's required quite a lot to actually explain how it's done. Now, with virtual teams, again, back to if you're just working on a task, you may don't need to be on video because
Mm,
you're just kind of talking and for a variety of reasons. But you want to understand what's okay, what's not okay, and how it needs to be done. You also want to explain how to use messaging. And
yeah.
it's kind of almost cybersecurity and all soft skills because you may use Slack, Teams, or anything else, whatever the company is allowing you to use. You want to
Yes.
make sure the communication in the company is
Yeah.
established and the leaders tell you what one you can use and you cannot use. And it's also soft skills, but it's also a bit of cybersecurity in my mind because you don't want people to discuss confidential information on the channels that the company didn't approve. If the company okay with WhatsApp text messages, fine, but at least understand what's okay and what's not okay.
Yeah. Excellent points. So we've been talking about adults, but I teach also youth. And so what should we teach our kids about online safety?
This is a big topic. So
Yeah, another topic.
number one in my mind, and I have three kids, I'm not just talking hypothetically, is
Hmm.
you're not going to be there with them all the time.
Yeah.
Scare tactic working, but I prefer for them to have curiosity and to curiosity in a good way, not just click, 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 and also understanding to kind of wait a bit before you do something. And that's what I tell kids. If you see a button, you don't just click on the button, understand what it is. If you don't understand, you need to call an adult and ask him what it is. So we want to build awareness. We want to explain them with examples that potentially will be scary, but explain to them we're not doing this because we're trying to scare you. We're doing this because we're trying just to deceive. Same idea as we teach our kids to cross traffic lights, to
Yeah.
cross roads,
Right.
what to do in the park. Why? Because it's basic awareness. And I'm always tell the kids, like this idea, like a head on a swivel. You want to look around yourself all the time. We do a lot of biking with the kids. So, like, hey, this is what we need to do. There's places to go nuts, like do whatever you want. But
Yeah.
if we're not in the park, if we're not in the forest on a trail, if you're in the place with other cars, then we dial down the nuts part and we look around, we stop all the lights, we look left and right, we pay attention to brake light, we pay attention to this. And I always providing them idea and explaining to them why. And yes, kids are kids. Sometimes they're not listening, but slowly, slowly they understand it's coming from awareness and not because
Mm.
you're trying to control them. Because the moment they start understanding that you're trying to control them, they will find many creative ways to remove the control.
So true. So we talked about a lot of things today, and we could probably, you and I, talk for hours and hours on many different topics that we touched on today. But it is now time for me to share your contact information for those of you out there that may have said, "Oh gosh, I really could use his advice, his help." So you'll want to know how to contact Evgeniy. If you're just listening, you know the drill. You should have been taking notes all along. He dropped a lot of golden nuggets for you. But if you didn't, or if you're driving, can't do this right now, you can go to my website, Vicki Noethling. Please do subscribe to that YouTube channel, Vicki Noethling. And my website is findyourleadershipconfidence.com. All of this is always in my show notes. Website softskillstech.ca. softskillstech.ca. And LinkedIn is his first initial E and then his last name, Kharam. That's Ekharam. And I will turn it over to Evgeniy and let him share information about his call to action today for you, what you can find on his website, all the links, resources, any information that might be helpful to you and give you a little bit of information about his book and the workshops.
It's good.
Evgeniy, it's all yours.
First of all, thank you very much for hosting me. It was a great time. I really enjoyed the conversation. And absolutely agree, we can talk for a very long time, and maybe one day we'll meet physically as well. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
In the website, you can find information about the book, where to get the book. Please do get the book. It's definitely, I think, a lot of potential good information for you. There's blogs in the website as well. I'm working right now on a course. There is also a podcast about soft skills, some of the interviews I did during the book creation. I have a workshop I start doing with, depending on who. If you're an individual leader, we usually work one-on-one. If you're a team, I usually come and present and give you some material and tips and advices and what to do later on after we're done to make sure you can progress and learn soft skills. And to finish, I do want to say that open up the vulnerability. Be okay. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. Push yourself a bit out of the comfort zone. Yes, it's scary, but it's rewarding if you're doing it slowly.
Awesome. Well, it has been just such a wonderful pleasure chatting with you. Always great to meet a fellow Toastmaster. And as always, I remind everyone that life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling, signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.